Hello, it's me Gage, and welcome to my review of Lobo Roadrunner Special Crossover. I have the main cover art, and I have the special Looney Tunes variant, though I do like this better just because this part of Lobo's arm annoys me. But, either way, let's get into the review. So, the comic kicks off with us seeing how Wile E. Coyote was made. He gets tranked, sent to a lab, where they get turned into Looney Tunes. In fact, we even get to see how Sylvester was made. That's right, they're all scientific lab experiments. Then they all gain, like, these special super durable feats and all this stuff. We see the coyote escape, all this stuff. Then we get to see the 3 decades of him trying to catch and kill the Roadrunner, but failing. Then we finally get to see Lobo. The art style for him is not that great, as he is missing a lot of the black lines down the side of his face and the things on the side of his head. He just looks like he has really big eyeshadow. But other than that, it is a pretty good Lobo. I'm not going to lie there. So we get to the coyote who's hungry, so he lets himself get captured so he can eat. Yada yada yada, more. We get to meet Sam, the sheepdog from the Looney Tunes, and thus we get to see a really badass scene with Lobo where he says, "Let me ask you something. Do I look worried?" Which is actually a pun because he ripped Gabe's eyes out. We get to see Sam talking to Wile E. Coyote. He calls him Ralph because of Ralph from the old cartoon they used to be in. They hatch a plan to escape. They escape through a rocket. They're both in the rocket. Lobo shows up. They make a space dolphin hologram to catch his attention. They hire him to go kill the Roadrunner. What else do you need to know there? Continuing. Lobo shows up and boom! Roadrunner shows up. Lobo chasing gets set on fire and gets blown up. Wow. While the coyote is sent to kill Kilowog so Lobo can go kill the Roadrunner because Lobo was already on a mission, so he sent Wile E. Coyote to go do his job, which was to kill Kilowog. And since Wile E. Coyote's a Looney Tune, he's able to take this beating like a champ and not even care. Lobo continuously tries to kill the Roadrunner, but keeps on failing. And here is a great moment that made a lot of Lobo fans happy to read. I did keep my series... Ignore that. Notification popped up. I did keep my series going for 64 issues, 3 annuals, and a whole lot of miniseries and one-shots. That is a great line to hear as a Lobo fan. They know how successful Lobo was, and they mention it. That is a great reference. We see the classic falling off the cliff gag, with Lobo signaturely saying his signature word, "fragged." We see that the hit that was set on Kilowog is now stopped because the dude was jealous, and Kilowog actually offers Wile E. Coyote a Green Lantern ring due to his resilience. Lobo tries to kill the Roadrunner with an atom bomb, but it fails. He notices he's being watched. He goes on a mission and finds this dude, who apparently was a scientist who experimented on himself to watch the Coyote and Roadrunner to test how much of predators they were. But when Wile stopped being the predator, he needed Lobo. So he set the whole thing into motion, but Wile shows up and stops the whole thing. Lobo then goes off to go to Sin City, and Wile goes out into the wild to be normal, but the Roadrunner, he just won't leave him alone. In the final panel, we see the Wile E. Coyote took a Green Lantern ring, and with the final saying, "That's all Bastages." But it's not done there. It swaps over to a Looney Tunes style art style, with Lobo looking like he has a lot of inspiration from the animated series of both Superman and the Justice League, which were some of my favorite episodes. Go check them out. So basically, he has to fill up 8 pages in a Looney Tunes style art thing and try to beat the Roadrunner in those art styles. So he no longer has his dark and gritty realism. So he goes in, calls Acme, and he tries to copy Wile E. Coyote's rocket skates from previous cartoons. He even mentions that he put all his effort into the other story, so he's going to try as little as possible for this one. But we now learn that he's not allowed to copy off any of the old cartoons. He has to come up with original ideas, and he can no longer smoke because he's PG rated. So he starts swearing, yada yada. He has a plan to make him fall into sharp rocks, fails. The classic cartoon gag. He jumps down, but gets impaled, and they mention that he's only allowed to get hurt because it's just cartoon violence. If only that was in cartoons nowadays. So he decides to try to flood the whole canyon to flush out the coyote, but it fails. He gets bitten by crocodiles. He does mention that he did manage to catch the Roadrunner, but he had to do it off-page. So he tries to blow it up, but he actually wasn't supposed to kill the Roadrunner, just attempt to, so he could have stopped after the first. But anyway, he gets sued for killing the Roadrunner, but he really didn't. So he starts getting mad not knowing, so probably he doesn't get sued either. Then there's the ad for Batman Jokes and Riddles, another good comic series coming out. They just did Deadshot versus Deathstroke, ended in a tie. Batman beat them both. I'm mad. But the next fight should be Solomon Grundy versus Killer Croc. I'm looking for that one. So that was Lobo crossing over with the Looney Tunes Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Now, what do I think of this comic? As a major Lobo fan, I loved this book. Yes, Lobo himself does not look as good as he should, but different artists draw differently. And the Looney Tunes style did do a good job of him. But the art style everywhere else is actually pretty good. But for Lobo, it just seems a little bit rushed for him, but however the story is pretty good, because I really did like the idea that the Looney Tunes are lab experiments, meaning that they give an explanation to why they're so supernaturally difficult to hurt. You know how we always see, they get, say, a safe, a wrecking ball, a boulder, or a safe dropped on them, but they are completely fine. That is how they do it. They're lab experiments. And plus, it was actually nice and kind of dark to see Sylvester in a cage. There we can see Taz, and over there we can see Bugs Bunny. So this I just really liked, as it gave us a lot of explanation. And they even mentioned that lizard, and I don't know what that's from. Is that a Looney Tune that I just never seen before? Explain that to me. But anyway, the art style is pretty good overall. The story is written pretty well. And I really did love this reference. This reference was the best thing in this book. For Lobo fans, and let's be honest, the only way you're going to buy this book or would have any plans to is either if you bought all the Looney Tunes crossovers that just came out, or if you're a Lobo fan and excited that he's back in DC Comics. Well, good news, because Lobo is back to his former glory, and he even mentions how he was great in the past, and that is great to see, because that brings back a ton of great memories. And even this book also brings up a lot of other great references from the old days, such as Wile E. Coyote's older plans and Sam from the old Looney Tunes cartoons. Yeah, I actually really like the old Sam cartoons with Ralph, because they were really good, and he even calls Wile E. Coyote Ralph because he reminds him of Ralph. Because in the cartoon, it was literally the same character pretty much, look-wise, but they were said to be different characters, which was a really good touch. So overall, all the references to the good old days, the okay art style, and the great storytelling, and how they gave the Looney Tunes an origin that made sense for a dark and gritty Lobo story, were fantastic. Now, just because the art wasn't as great for Lobo, and the story could have been a little bit better, it isn't as good as it could be, but it is fantastic. The rating I give these comic series is a 8.5 out of 10, but if you're going to look for one of these comics, try to get the variant cover in the Looney Tunes style, as Lobo does look like his classic stuff with those lines. And overall, it just looks better than this. Just because of this arm, it bugs me. But overall, I hope you liked the review, and make sure to like and subscribe.